What's up, my ducks and drakes? Welcome to the Crawdad Lake, and today we'll be discussing some stories from my 3rd grade year. So 3rd grade was interesting, to say the least. It had to be the worst year of elementary school by far. I was framed into detention. I got a whiff at performing, which was definitely helpful, and I worked very hard on a project for the rest of the class to take the credit for me. So first, I'm going to go with the creation story. So we were given an hour of free time to do whatever we wanted. Everyone was playing the Run 2 on cool math games, as it do be in 3rd grade, frick. And I'm like, I'm gonna color, because I got this new 64 crayon box of crayons, as me be doing. And so, I start coloring and coloring. I cut, I draw, I'm doing everything. But I just need string. So I ask people for string, and I get string, and people are like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm making a banner. So they're like, hey, we can help. So they help me glue on the banner, which just says, our teacher's name, class. And so we work hard to put on the glue. But then everyone's like, oh, that's so cool. And they hang it up in the hallway for me. And then, because they hung it up in the hallway, the principal walked by and was like, oh, hey, that's cute. Did you guys make it? And so we're like, no, VP made it, and we're just hanging it up. They said, oh yeah, it was really fun. We made it for our teacher's name. And the principal was like, oh cool. And they got 5 blue tickets, which if you don't remember from my other videos, blue tickets is a reward system for good deeds at my school. And I was very pissed after that. Secondly, I was framed for a detention. So one day I was at recess. Now, back then I hated going to recess. Usually I went to the office to work on office-y things during that time, but the office was closed today because no one showed up to work in the office, and so yeah, I couldn't go. So I was sitting down on the blue bench just quietly singing to myself, as I do be. But then I saw that a swing opened up after a girl got off of it, and I'm like, oh cool, a swing opened up. So I got on the swing. I was on there for about 30 seconds. I was really high at that point when the girl who got off came up to me and was like, I was using that. And so I said, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you got off. I just got on. And she's like, well, I want my swing back. And I'm like, could you count to 60 like you're supposed to? Because at the time, if someone's on the swing and you want to go on, you'd walk behind them and then count to 60, and then they have to get off, and then it's your turn with the swing. So while doing that, she kept getting closer and closer and closer to me. While I was swinging, I'm like, well, you might want to back up so you don't get hit. And so she said okay, so she backed up. But then she stepped forward again, and I whacked her right in the face. She stumbled back, and I stepped on my swing. I apologized, and then I stepped back on the swing because she got up, and she was yelling at me. While she was yelling at me, her group of 6 other friends came and surrounded my swing. Now, I was just sitting here like, is going on. I just didn't want to get in trouble, and I didn't want to get anyone else in trouble. And they're like, you shouldn't have hit our friend like that, yada yada yada. And then the girl from behind me pushed me forward, so I kicked the girl in front of me right in her stomach, and she's like, okay, that's it, we're gonna go tell. So these 6 girls went and told the recess aide that I hit them. And she asked, did you hit them? I'm like, no, I didn't. I was pushed. I'm sorry. I told them I was sorry. It was an accident. She's like, well, I don't believe you. And she was like, I would send you guys right to the detention office, but I know that, and she said this, I know that these 6 girls have both, there's 7 of them. These girls have been to detention twice this week. This is not only does she not believe me, I said that I didn't do it, but she openly admit these girls were up to no good and have been to detention already twice this week, and it was Wednesday. So she's like, okay, I can't send you right to the detention place, but I could send you to the principal's office. And so I'm going down the hallway, and I'm nervous as all heck, and these girls are all laughing and skipping in front of me, knowing that they got me in trouble. And so we go to the office, we sit down, and our vice principal's like, oh yeah, what's going on? They're all like, she hit us, and, they're laughing. They're laughing. Keyword being laughing, so they're faking it. And the principal I was begging her to check the security cameras. I'm like, just check them, we'll see that I'm innocent. I thought I was gonna freaking die at a 3rd grade detention. And then my principal was like, well, I think that'd be unfair if the victims didn't want to check the cameras. And, you know, all 7 girls were like, no, we don't want to check the cameras. Why would we have to when we know that she kicked us and hit us? I'm like, no, please check the cameras. Which shouldn't it be the clue that the person who accusedly did the crime wants you to find evidence that they did the crime? Wouldn't that be weird? So yeah, more evidence that they framed me. But no, my principal's like, no, you're getting an detention. So I start crying. Apparently she took this as, oh yeah, she's like, I'm sorry, but I know you're guilty because you're crying. And I'm like, no, I'm crying because I'm getting in trouble, you bitch. So then I had to get a permission slip, not permission slip, but like a slip printed that I did a detention for hitting someone. My mom signed it, and I went to detention the next day. And once again, the office was closed, so I couldn't ditch to go and work in the office, which that was an option. So I got my rectangle pizza, and I went to detention. I am not kidding you. I am not kidding you when I tell you right now that detention that day was the best recess of my elementary school career. I remember all throughout 3rd grade being bored with the math we were getting, and I kept begging my teacher for harder math, and they kept saying no. So I went to the detention office, and the person running detention was like, oh yeah, so here's some multiplication. And this was 3rd grade, and we only started basic multiplication, like 0 through 12. This multiplication had 56 times 42, doubles multiplication. You don't know how freaking happy I was. And of course I did it wrong, so say for like 55 times 55, I go 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 5 is 25. And then I do 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 5 is 25, and then I'd freaking add 25, 25, and 25, and 25 to get, like, I don't know, something, like I think it's a million, I don't know. What I'm saying is I know for a fact I did it wrong, now that I'm looking at it. But I had so much fun during that detention. I have freaking asked the person running detention if I could come back tomorrow, and she said no. So I tried to convince the girls to tell the recess aide that I hit them again just so that I could go back to detention. They said, no, why would you want to go back to detention? I told them, it's fun. They're like, there's no use blaming you for stuff if you enjoy the punishment. And then they walked away. And so I told the recess aide, hey, is it okay if I go back to detention? And she asked why. And I said, I think it's fun. It's better than being picked on at recess. And she's like, what do you mean being picked on? I'm like, those girls that told me to go to recess pushed me yesterday and then blamed me for pushing them. And the recess aide was like, that's not right. So I went back inside, went to the principal's office. She freaking pulled up the security camera footage and saw that they pushed me. Did they get in trouble for it? No. Was the detention pulled off my permanent record? No. But at least I got the victory of knowing that I wasn't that much in trouble. So yeah. And then I even went back to detention sometimes just to learn how to do that math. And then I knew how to do that math when I got to 4th grade. So I don't know how you guys learned multiplication back in 3rd grade, but for me, we had Math Wars. Math Wars was a game where each 3rd grade class competed against each other in a trial and error multiplication type trivia game to see who knew multiplication the best for that week. So, there was my class, which I'm just going to give our teacher's fake name so that it's easier to say. There was our class. I'm going to use Sanderside's name so that you guys remember more, because I know most of my audience watches Sanderside's. I was class Roman, then there was class Remus, class Virgil, and class Janice. And so, my class Remus, Roman, sorry, I can't even remember my own made-up names. My class was class Roman. And we worked very hard to get our trophies. And by trophies, I mean there were printed out pictures of trophies with our class name on it. And we had a competition each week. It'd be like, say, Riemann versus Roman, and then Janus versus Virgil, and whoever won each of those competitions got to go on to the quote-unquote finals, and that won for the week. And that's how we practiced multiplication. So, it was near the end of the year, and I remember this very specifically because I remember loving this day. And we were in the line. And our class Roman, was going against class Virgil. Now, class Virgil's class is very, very hard to beat because they are freaking math whizzes. But there's only one kid left in the line, and he's the smartest kid in the class. We all take turns going through, but he always wins. There's 5 kids left against his one kid. Even though it's 1 versus 5, it's very easy that they could win because the boy on their line is very smart. So the next kid that comes up, I'm going to call him Mark. So Mark walks up, and they get the multiplication thing, 9 times 6. This kid's very bad at their 9 multiplications, so he says 49. But this trips up the smart kid, and he says 49 too at the same time, which means that we won because we eliminated the last kid in the line for their class, and we won because the stupid kid said the wrong answer. So just know, if you are stupid, you still do some good. Moral of the story. Hashtag moral of the story. Continuing with that, one day we were at gym class, and we were coming back to class from gym. Now, usually when we won a multiplication tournament, the paper trophy that was given to us would hang up in front of our classrooms. But while we were coming back from gym, our teacher was taking it down. And we were like, why are you taking down our trophies? Now, think, it's the middle of May, so he's probably getting ready for the summer. But he says, well, you guys haven't been winning in a long time, so I could figure you guys don't care about the thing. Which is true, we haven't won in a couple weeks at this point. And we were the best class in the grade for a while, but then that was taken by Virgil's class. And so, for the rest of the year, we won every Friday, just to gain our teacher's respect back, which was, all in all, kind of dumb. We also played this game called Fact Dash, which is a website where it just, like, multiplication. And we did usually boys versus girls. And Fact Dash was a game where you line up in a line of girls, or of boys. And I didn't know about NB people at the time, which would have been really confusing if there were, like, NB people in the class, because it's the boys and girls line, and, yeah. Anyway, this was 3rd grade, so I don't think many people knew what that was back then. But, like, yeah. So we got in lines of boys and girls, and we'd fill out multiplication. Whichever team could get the most multiplication problems done in 1 minute would win. So the girls went, and we got 56 problems done in a minute. And then the boys went, and they got 40. And so there's this kid. I'm gonna call him Lenny, based off of Lenny from Of Mice and Men. And Lenny, he had some anger problems, and he sat right next to me in class because the teacher knew that I wouldn't provoke him or anything. And so, the girls won, and because I was the nearest girl, he was really mad at me, and he flipped the desk. Now, we were in tables of groups, and the groups were of 3. And so when he flipped his desk in anger at me, it crushed my arm, and then I went to the nurse for the rest of the day because I had a bruised arm. And so, next time we played Fact Dash, the girls went first. And once again, we got 55, 1 less than last time. And after my round, I went and stood in the cubby section of the classroom while the boys went. And when the boys lost and the boy flipped his desk, I wasn't injured that time. So yeah, my teacher actively let me, like, not go to my seat just so I wouldn't get hurt. It was pretty cool. And yeah, that's 3rd grade. Yeah. We also took this test called iStep, and I remember that whole week we got free snacks from the PTA, and everyone started using the fruit roll-ups as swords until they were taken away from us. It was pretty cool. So yeah, that was basically my experience with 3rd grade. If you'd like to share some stories of your own, put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. If you would like to go onto any of my socials, Instagram, Twitter, Wattpad, Tumblr, TikTok. I even have a Discord server that'll all be in the description down below. That's also including my 2nd channel where I go live, and my Discord server where it really do be poppin'. Additionally, there is a Google form down below talking about Wattpad Read Alouds and, like, your suggestions for fanfics for me to read for Wattpad. There's also some general, frequently asked questions in the description that I've been putting up for a couple months now, but I don't know how many people read the description, so I don't know how many people know. Yeah, just in general, Thank you for watching, because this is a weird video. Do your best.
Do your best.